Today's skritty roleplay happens to occur at the Busted Flagon. Skrit runs in and sees a mushroom-headed Sylvari.
Hey! You're a Scrat?
Are you a friend to Scrat?
Sometimes.
I am Scrat. Be good friend. Give beer, yes?
I helped some Scrats in a cave get shinies from Inquest Labs. Oh, well, she can help you.
The Sylvari motions to the human bartender.
Inquest very bad. Inquest evil and well known. They show by not giving beer. Terrible. Very insulting to Scrat.
Well, you should ask the human female behind the counter for the beer.
She beckons once again.
Human want shinies. Scrat. Scrat no have. Yes.
The human responds,
Yes, I'm afraid it isn't free, my friend.
to which the Sylvari continues,
I can pay. How much is it?
Best friend to Scrat, yes.
50 cents a mug.
Human drink weak water. Scrat needs strongest hard water, yes.
The Sylvari places a silver on the table. The human fills a flagon of her darkest strong ale for the Scrat and places it on the table. The Sylvari smiles down upon her Scrat friend. Skrit snatches the mug and scurries off, hiding under a table and spilling a bit along the way. What a funny creature.
He's just afraid. They usually have to run and hide from monsters.
Skrit drinks heartily from the mug, spilling much on the floor under the table. As he drinks, he realizes he doesn't have quite enough room under the table to fully tilt back the mug to get the bottom half of his drink. Skrit, acting on impulse, wedges his face into the mug to lap up the remainder, and then realizes that he is stuck. Skrit tugs on the mug to no avail. Instantly he begins to violently panic, kicking out chairs and flailing under the table. The Sylvari, hearing the noise, walks over and peers under the table.
Are you okay?
Skrit scurries out from under the table and thwacks into the wall. He runs behind the door and thwacks into the stair rails. All the sounds of skritty collisions make the Sylvari wince noticeably. Skrit continues, thwacking into a door and thus opening a room after he had scurried up the staircase successfully. Exhausted, he curls onto a bed. He'll be fine, I'm sure, says the human. The Sylvari sighs and agrees with her. After a restful moment, Skrit realizes it's very difficult to breathe. Quickly, he scurries out of the room, back down the stairs, and thwacks into the cabinets. Hastily, Skrit begins opening all of the cabinets and pulling drawers out, throwing some of the drawers against the floor in his panic, not finding what he's searching for. In the other room, the human continues her conversation. I try to be open with all here, as long as someone can help pay, although it sounds like he's making a ruckus now.
Should I go see if he's okay?
In the back room, Skrit finds what he's been desperately searching for, a jug of olive oil. Instantly, Skrit attempts to gnaw off the cork to no avail, tinking against the bottle uselessly. In the other room, the Sylvari continues. Do you think I'll just scare him again? She grimaces a bit. I think someone needs to do something, that's for sure. Skrit, realizing his folly, begins to smash the bottle against the wall a few times. A few loud glass clanks, and finally a shatter.
Uh-oh.
With the base of the bottle now cracked open, Skrit begins to pour the flowing olive oil down his face and neck into the mug. Now good and slippery, Skrit begins to attempt to tug on the mug. Skrit then realizes he is now in fact drowning in olive oil. In a blind panic, Skrit scurries around in haste, slamming into walls. The Silvari and the human now are in the room with Skrit, and the Silvari yells out, "Slow down! You're going to break something!" At which point, Skrit runs full force into the oven and falls over. All the Silvari can do as she watches this collision is flinch. Skrit is now lying motionless. "Is he alright?" the human asks. The Silvari walks over to the Skrit and bends down to a crouching position and sets a hand on the Skrat lying on the ground. "Are you okay?" The Skrit remains perfectly still, potentially knocked out from the collision or suffocated by olive oil in his mug helmet. The Silvari places her hand on the Skrat's shoulder and uses the other hand to pull the mug. Skrit's mug resists momentarily and then slides off, unleashing another pint of olive oil all over the ground. Skrit coughs up a mouthful of olive oil and then is still again, not apparently breathing. The Silvari sighs with relief. She sets the mug down on the counter to her left. "Well, he's alive. Skrat friend, what were you doing in there?" At this point, the olive oil has mostly poured off Skrit's face, leaving his fur slicked down and gunky. He still hasn't taken a breath. The Silvari frowns, and then moves in to pick up the Skrat. "Where should I take him?" she asks her human companion. "I don't know where he belongs, but he's certainly caused enough commotion back here." "Okay." Skrit, being covered in olive oil, is incredibly slick. He slips right out of the Silvari's hands and thwacks into the ground roughly. "Gah!" Skrit begins heaving up olive oil onto the floor, gasping for breath. She fumbles to grab at him again. "I'm sorry, poor little thing." Skrit crawls around on all fours, slipping about and falling on his face a few times. "Hey, wait! You need to get that oil washed off of you." The human grabs at the slick creature, trying to get a grasp on him. And in response, Skrit grabs the bartender's dress and lifts himself up by it, burying his face into the cloth and trying to force the olive oil out of his fur with vigorous rubbing. Sickened by this, the human shoves away the little animal, feeling a bit ruffled. Skrit looks around after he gets his bearings. He's cleaned up enough olive oil from his face to open his eyes again. Warily, he stands up. The Silvari pipes up. "You need to be washed. Do you have any soap or other non-polar solvents?" Skrit looks at the completely slick floor, the numerous open cabinet doors, and the shelves thrown across the floor in his desperate search for something slick. Skrit begins to sneak out. The Silvari notices. Hey! Hey! Skrit runs out of the drunken flagon and hides himself underneath of a cart. The Silvari sighs heavily. "Poor little thing. I guess the oil will have to come off slowly. He's under the cart." Well, I've surely made a mess of things." "What do you mean?" The human explains. "I'm new to bartending, and as you said, many humans don't serve so indiscriminately. The Sylvari looks over her human bartender companion with concern. I can help you clean up the mess. Let's go clean things up before you get in trouble, yes? Okay. First we have to get that broken bottle out of the way. Skrit, at this point, scurries off into the darkness, glad that no one's going to hold him accountable for the gigantic mess that he has made. Thus ending another Skritty RP. I'm not sure if I will continue with these. It seems a little bit more awkward than my other offerings, and I always forget to take screenshots, which would help with this. Toodles!